10th. As I mentioned, good night's sleep always changes everything. I slept pretty well last night and I got up this morning not feeling great, spoke to my daughter, and decided to go for a walk. That always improves things, though when you get started you always don't feel good. So during my walk I began to think, June 10th, second day of my video diary, what is it that I want to record? What is the purpose? I guess that certified yoga therapist in me came out. And certainly what I don't want this to become is 2 months of me just complaining about my symptoms and not feeling good. Clearly that is not constructive. What I would like to do is, through my journey, maybe help someone else who might be watching this and give them one little factoid of information that could help them and send them in their own positive journey for health and well-being. So what I decided to do is to be a little bit more logical and treat myself as my own client, my own student, as a yoga therapist. Along the way, obviously, I know I'm going to come into bumpy roads, but my hope is to share that with you. Making myself a little bit more vulnerable is a little flipping the coin for me, but I do believe this is important, so I'm going to do that. To tell you a little bit about my situation, and it's not for empathy or sympathy, it is just to help people get a perspective, is that, as I mentioned in my first video journal last night, my wish, my desire is to retain my uterus. Hysterectomy and the wait-and-see attitude were pretty much the only two viable options that were given to me, and none of those are really appropriate for me. I had talked to doctors regarding myomectomy, which is removal of the fibroids from the uterus, leaving the uterus intact, and they always like to warn you that when severe blood loss could happen, which it can, and myomectomy is probably one of the more challenging surgeries that are out there, that's always a chance. And if it comes down to you or your uterus, obviously the doctor, the surgeon, has to save you. In the same breath that they were saying they could do the fibroid, there's always that chance of having to end up with a hysterectomy. So I decided to keep researching, and I found a doctor that does bloodless surgery. Like I said, I will stay tuned, give you the information a little bit later. And my fibroid is quite large. At last count, it's something like 15 centimeters, which equates to about 6 inches by about 11 by almost 9 centimeters, and that's quite large. For those of you who have personally known me, I'm not a large person. I'm about 5'2". I don't carry excess weight, and the fibroid is growing up and down and very much to the left. It compresses a lot of organs, causing, by the way, if you're squeamish, you might get too much information, constipation. Because it is so large and occupying so much of my body, it has to go somewhere. Down is the other choice. It presses into my hip area, pretty much the nerves of the sacral area, so hip and leg pain. My bladder, I saw it in an exam, is about half compressed. There's not a lot of room there. And obviously the vagina has quite a bit of bulging, though there is no prolapse, so I'm very fortunate. In addition, because it is so big, it presses up. Today, I've been noticing this for a while, it's challenging to breathe, especially when I lie down or I sit. I think that's because the size of the fibroid presses up and my other organs higher up over my navel are becoming compressed. Additionally, I feel nauseous, and I'm not sure if that's from the constipation, but honestly, it just feels like my stomach is constantly crowded and I have no room to eat. So after walking, though, I always feel a little bit better, and it's an optimal time for me in the morning to get some nutrition and to eat really well. So that's pretty much the case, is that I'm going to be having this challenging surgery, which I will go into more about. Clearly, I'm not doing this for sympathy or empathy, but again, I'm hoping to share some of the tips and tricks that I'm doing to help me feel a little bit better, both body, mind, and spirit, emotionally, as well as the breath. I've learned a lot. I have wonderful people in my life. I have a wonderful functional medicine doctor. I get acupuncture. I see a chiropractor. I'm hoping some of those I can capture on tape if they will allow it. But also too, for myself, is that I am doing this for myself, and I have to take responsibility for myself, and that's what I'm doing. I will share nutrition tips. I will also share pain relief, but also to other techniques to calm the overall beings that we are. This is a scary time. I'm no different than any other woman, though I like to think I'm stronger. I am very much a human like everyone else, so hopefully I can share some of this, and maybe I'll make some mistakes along the way, but if you see me make the mistakes, maybe you can forego that mistake yourself. So this is Kat